everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are setting up my November reading wrap-up for 2023, and since I have November and December combined, I won't fill out my little library card, but for my 23 books to read in 2023, I did learn that one of them sadly has been pushed to 2025, so I won't be able to read that. But here we have my completely filled in reading tracker that I finished last month, and like I said before, it is so satisfying to look at this. But next we have my physical TBR, and thankfully I was able to knock one of those off in the month of November, and that was Monsters, Born and Made. New releases in November. A ton of books came out in November, which is surprising because hardly any I think are coming out in December, so I think they could have pushed some. But I was able to acquire a couple copies of some of the books that I've either read or wanted to read, and I've also managed to acquire a couple other books from previous months due to some good Black Friday sales. Next up is my favorite challenge, my ABC challenge, and hooray, I am able to complete my challenge 1 month before the end of the year by reading Jacoby, which is my J book, and then Monsters Born and Made, which is my M book, and now that it is complete, I can now say this is my favorite spread to look at. My favorite book of November was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've read a couple of her books this year, and for Divine Rivals, I know that came out this year, and there's a lot of hype around it, and I can confirm that the hype is real. And then our book selection for November is a 1986 bestseller, and we chose A Perfect Spy by Jean Le Carre. Next up, we have my final reading challenge of the year, which is to read more diversely, and in the month of November, I read one book by an Latinx Hispanic author, and I also read a book by an Indigenous author. For this section, I didn't have room for the 10th flower, so I'll still be adding the 10th flower in December, but I think I'll be able to complete this challenge in 2023, which I'm very excited about. Moving on to my final portion of the wrap-up, which is my November book reviews for some of my favorite books of the month. Again, this is just scrap paper I've had that I've collaged and made the title covers for. The sticker paper that I use for the months like November is linked in my bio, and the tape I use is just some rolling tape that you can buy at any craft store. But for my demographics this month, 6 books were by Caucasian authors, 4 were by Middle Eastern or Arab authors, 3 were by AAPI authors, and this graph is incorrect, but 3 were by Black or African authors, and then 1 was by an Indigenous author, and 1 was by a Latinx Hispanic author. And then for the genres, no surprise, 9 of them were fantasy, while 6 were YA, 5 were historical, 4 were sci-fi, 3 were romance, 3 were literary, and 3 were contemporary. And then for my mood, the vast majority were adventurous, while 5 were emotional, 5 were dark, 4 were mysterious, 3 were lighthearted, and 3 were challenging, whatever that means. And then for my rating, I only had 1 5-star book, but I did have 10 4-star books. And then I had 6 stars that were 3 stars. 6 books that were 3 stars, and then 2 books that were 2 stars. And then for my formats, 63 were in audio format, 32 were in digital, and 5% were in print, and all of them were traditionally published. And now moving on to the review portion of my wrap-up. The first book we have is System Collapse by Martha Wells. This is kind of a odd review for me because I'll be reviewing it in regards to the digital version that I read, but I also read it in audiobook format once that became available, and I will say that the audiobook format was much more enjoyable for me, but this review is for the digital format. But basically, System Collapse is the latest installment in the Myrnabot series, and it presented a mixed experience for me, as I just discussed, but the beloved Sec Unit is dealing with the aftermath of previous events in previous books, and resulting in a plot that delves into internal conflicts, shifting the focus away from external conflicts. And while the exploration of Murderbot's emotional struggles proved interesting, it did lead to a narrative that felt a bit more introspective, and the pacing suffered as a result. But Martha Wells's unique writing style, which is a defining feature of the series, made the journey to significant events feel prolonged, and it required more patience when reading. But despite these challenges, System Collapse still provides insight insights into Murderbot's evolving character and emotional landscape, making it a worthwhile installment for fans of the series. The first read that I had of this was in digital format, and I gave it 3 stars, but I do give the audiobook version 4 stars. And then next we have Something More by Jackie Kalalea. The Something More is a heartwarming and relatable coming-of-age teen romance that left me utterly charmed. The story revolves around 15-year-old Jessie, a Palestinian-Canadian girl navigating the challenges of high school while keeping her recently diagnosed autism a secret. Kalalea's masterful storytelling not only captures the essence of Jessie's unique character, but also delivers a nostalgic trip for older readers through the protagonist's obsession with all things 90. But as readers, we witness Jessie's journey to acquire 2 distinct eyebrows, experience a magical first kiss, and secure a spot in the school play, all while navigating the complexities of high school life. This book is beautifully crafted and transcends the teenage romance genre, offering a story that is not only heartwarming but also thought-provoking. Jackie has created a memorable protagonist in Jessie, making this novel a delightful journey into the intricacies of adolescence, friendship, and self-discovery. I read this in audiobook format, and I gave it 4 stars. Next up, we have Before We Say Goodbye by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the 4th installment in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, and this installment provides an emotionally resonant journey within the mystical Tokyo cafe where time travel is possible. The focus this time is on final goodbyes, with each narrative offering a powerful exploration of love, loss, and closure, from an absent husband bidding farewell to his wife to a daughter seeking closure with her father. The emotions in each story are palpable, creating a cathartic experience for readers. Kawaguchi's writing, skillfully translated, captures the essence of the human experience as characters grapple with the inevitability of farewells. This installment is a touching read for those who appreciate stories that resonate deeply with the soul, and it is also a short little novella, so if you're looking for a book that will help you meet your reading goals this year, I highly recommend. You don't really need to read the previous installments to understand what's going on here, but they do give a little bit of context. However, you can read this as a standalone. I read this in a digital format, and I gave it 4 stars. Then we have Behind You Is the Sea by Suzumari Duraj. This is a poignant exploration of the lives of a small group of Palestinian Americans, intricately woven together to create a tapestry of shared experiences, familial bonds, and an enduring longing for a homeland left behind. As a reader, I may not personally understand the immigrant experience, but I appreciate the opportunity to immerse myself in these stories, gaining a window into a different lived reality. While recognizing that these narratives might offer a somewhat narrow view, the importance lies in continuing to read diverse stories to build a more nuanced understanding of familiar cultures and communities. The novel itself delves into heavy themes and at times perpetuates harmful stereotypes, but the author skillfully captures the subtleties of family dynamics, portraying the joys, sorrows, and unspoken tensions that define immigrant households. This is an advanced copy that I received, and it does come out January 16th if you're interested in reading, but I did give it 4 stars. Next up is Like Thunder by Nnedi Okorafor. This marks the conclusion of the Desert Magician duology, offering an immersive journey through hardships, heartaches, and the unwavering spirit of Takeju. The narrative unfolds with vivid imagery, perilous quests, and Okorafor's skillful infusion of West African mythology. Okorafor seamlessly blends the mystical and earthly, breathing life into a post-apocalyptic setting where the rich tapestry of West African mythology becomes a central element, and while the final battle against the tyrant threatening Earth may be perceived as anticlimactic, the emotionally charged journey leading to it proves engrossing. The author's storytelling prowess shines through in this installment, delivering a narrative that seamlessly weaves together fantasy, mythology, and poignant human experiences. The Desert Magician duology, with its vibrant characters and captivating storyline, stands as a fitting addition to Okorafor's impressive body of work, showcasing her ability to create worlds that resonate with readers and leave a lasting impact. I read this in digital format and gave it 4 stars. And then next up we have The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This is her latest installment, and it unfolds as a mesmerizing supernatural romance set against the evocative backdrop of the Mexican desert that is on the brink of war. The narrative, set in 1846, follows Nena, the daughter of a rancher, as she grapples not only with tensions against Anglo settlers, but also a sinister force threatening her home, an enigmatic creature draining men of their blood. The story masterfully weaves together threads of love, danger, and the supernatural, with the lead characters Nina and Nestor emerging as compelling and dynamic figures. Their intertwined destinies add layers of depth to the story, while Cañas' prose, infused with signature spooky imagery, vividly brings the Mexican desert to life, blurring the lines between the living and supernatural. I read this in audiobook format and I gave it 4 stars. And lastly, we have 2 of my favorite books of the month, starting with To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monique Black-Goose. This is a captivating coming-of-age tale that immediately drew me in, following Anequus, a determined young indigenous woman navigating a colonizer-run dragon academy. The story weaves a rich narrative of tradition and magic, led by a determined protagonist. Anequus is clever and headstrong, and her journey is both empowering and inspiring. The indigenous community depicted in the story provides a vibrant backdrop steeped in tradition, while the magical system, rooted in folklore and science, adds a unique dimension to the world building. Black-Goose seamlessly blends indigenous wisdom with fantastical elements, creating a narrative that feels both authentic and enchanting. To Shape a Dragon's Breath stands out in the fantasy genre, especially in regards to stories featuring dragons, offering a narrative rich in cultural depth, powerful characters, and an inspiring journey towards change. I read this in print format and I gave it 4 stars. And then lastly, we have my favorite book of the month, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This has taken Book Talk by storm this year, and deservedly so. This proves to be an enchanting tale that lives up to its hype, and as a masterful storyteller, Ross skillfully weaves a captivating narrative, seamlessly blending a world grounded in reality with a touch of magic. The central characters, Iris and Roman, are beautifully crafted, guiding readers through a plot filled with tension, love, and heartache. This story features 2 rival journalists, Iris and Roman, who discover love amidst the chaos of warring gods. Ross adeptly explores the complexities of her characters, each grappling with individual struggles. The exchange of letters between Iris and Roman adds an intimate layer to the story, forging a connection that transcends the ordinary. Whether fans of Ross's previous works or newcomers to her storytelling, readers will find themselves immersed in a tale of love, sacrifice, and the enduring power of connection. I read this in audiobook format and I gave it 5 stars. Here is my full reading wrap-up for November 2023. As always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for any future videos. As the year winds down, we will have my full 2023 reading wrap-up video, as well as the setup of my 2024 reading journal, so you definitely don't want to miss that, so be sure to subscribe. But until next time, happy reading, everyone.